What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your route running in 10 minutes. It's going to be a 10-minute long video on all the key aspects that you need to do as a receiver to improve your route running, okay? So I hope this video gives you guys some value. I hope you get a little bit better from it. It can take some things from it. But also, fellas, if you're a receiver and you want to improve your hands and you don't have a quarterback to throw to you, check out our 30-day catching program. Very first link in the description. It's all the grip strengthening drills, hand-eye coordination drills, and repetition drills you need to do to improve your hands if you don't have a quarterback to throw you 100, 200 footballs every day. This is one of our best programs on our website, so hope you can check it out. Again, very first link in the description, 30-day catching program. No quarterback necessary. Let's get started. So first things first, I want to talk to you about the restack, okay? So that's the first part to help you guys improve your route running, because if you guys don't know how to restack and you guys can't restack, you're not going to be able to get a lot of separation, okay? So we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about how you can get more explosive cuts, and then a few other things when it comes to getting some separation off the line, okay? So now, when you come up off the line, whether it's an inside or an outside release, the goal is to get this DB to move off of his platform, right? So if I get this DB to move off of his platform, what all great route runners do is they readdress themselves over the top so that DB is trailing his back hip, right? So we move him off this platform, and you see how this receiver, he kind of gives that almost, not necessarily a shoulder reduce, but he keeps a good pad level so he can stay nice and tight around that. You almost want to think of it as like you're lined up and pressed. This is a drill that I do with my receivers, is we'll set up 3 cones in like a C pattern. So you have to get around those cones and be able to readdress yourself over the top, right? So you want to make sure that you keep a good pad level off the line of scrimmage. You don't make this move and then stand straight up with your chest, because that will make you drift to the inside and you're not going to have as much explosion. You want to be almost hip to hip with this DB, so you get back over the top and you try to make him trail and watch your back hip, because that's how I can get some separation, right? So now you see how he comes off the line, readdresses himself back over the top, and now where's that DB looking? He's looking at his back hip. So this is one of the things that I want to talk to you about. You got to make sure that when you restack, you make that move at the top of the break, because now there are a lot of receivers out there who do restack. They restack on everything. They do a really good job, but then they'll get to the top of the break and then they just round this thing off and they run a post, or they round it off and run a corner, and they don't give anything at the top of the break to get some separation. You guys got to be able to give a move, because especially when it's a good, talented DB, if you don't give a move at the top of the break, he's not going to bite on anything. So you got to make sure that when we get up to the top of the break, you see how this receiver goes with that rocker step. He gives this cut here, gives a little head fake, throws himself to the outside. You see how much he's throwing his upper half, because that's what that DB's watching. You guys want to bring your upper half with those cuts. People ask me all the time, oh, when you take a rocker step, you don't want to step super far wide, right? And the thing is like you do want to step wide, but you want to bring your body there. If you just leave your body down the middle of your frame, yeah, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you actually bring your body with that cut and you throw all the way to the outside like this right here, that's what's going to get that DB to jump, and that's how we can accelerate. So you got to make sure, fellas, anytime you're getting some separation off the line, anytime you're doing any kind of release, you got to make sure that you reassess yourself over the top and restack. Now, if he had an inside release and he was running a post, maybe it's not as important, but you still want to work back over the top to get him to trail, get him to sit on the outside. Then I give him a heavy cut and break to that post. Or maybe like if I got an outside release and I run a corner, you want to readdress yourself so he doesn't force you way out to the inside. Because let me tell you this is the point that makes or breaks a lot of receivers right here. Because if you get this release and you go here, but you widen it out, that DB's going to recover, get hands, and completely reroute you, and you screw up the timing and you screw up the spacing of the play. So make sure that you readdress yourself back over the top. You restack, you go hip to hip with that DB. Let's watch it again, full speed one more time. Great job getting separation, restacking, keeping a good pad level so we can create some space over the top of this thing. So now, let's talk about a hip drop, okay? Let's talk about being violent with your hips. You guys have probably all seen this clip, but maybe we haven't talked about how important it is to have some explosion at the top of this break, okay? So we're going to be not just talking about snapping down, we're going to be talking about a speed cut as well. So the second thing that I want to talk to you about that will help you improve your route running, that I hope you can take home with you guys, is how you can be super violent with your hips and violent with your cuts, and that's what creates explosion for you. Because the whole goal, right, is to be able to make your move on a dime, right? Be able to make this move at the top of the break, do it suddenly, and then be able to get out, right? And widen the distance, because there's 3 phases to every route, right? You got a stem, you got a break point, then you got an acceleration. I remember I had some idiot comment on an Instagram post of mine. He's like, oh, well, you're teaching 3 phases. Well, yeah, they don't have time to think about all. It's like, no shit, dude. That's why we're talking about this right now, because so you guys have this detail and it's engraved in your head so you don't have to think about it on the field, because at the end of the day, you got to play fast. So the details matter. When you're in the off season, like the time it is right now for a lot of states out there, the details matter. So focusing on these details is what gets you better, because you focus on these details every single day, you get 1% better. So when it's time to go on Friday, Saturday, whatever day you're playing, you could just roll and you could play fast. Because at the end of the day, if you you can play faster than the opponent, you'll win. That's just the name of the game, right? Everybody at the next level's fast. So now when we're at the top of this break right here, when we break down and we snap down, it's really important that we're focused on getting into an explosive position, right? So this goes for the same thing. When you're breaking down like this, or snapping down as some people like to say, that's that trigger step right there. That's that snap down step that I'm showing you. It's very important that you bring your chin to your knee, get an explosive position, your pad level's going forward, because that explosive position right there could create some energy for you and you could drive out. He kind of paused at the top of the break. Don't necessarily blame him because of how close the sideline is to him, but you got to make sure that when you get into that explosive position, you continue to drive these arms and you run out of the break. Same thing goes for a speed cut, right? When you guys are here, you want to keep this good pad level, and when you make that cut, it's sudden. You explode that front foot in the grass, or whichever foot it is in the grass, and you shoot out of the break, right? It's not about just standing up tall, chopping your feet. It's about having no indicators and having that violent break at the top so you can create some explosion. Everybody loves to say, oh, you can't run full speed into a break, right? You got to slow yourself down. It's impossible. And those are the people that haven't worked it. Those are the people that haven't trained correctly, because you can run full speed into a break. That's the name of the game, selling fade. It comes with speed, comes with body language, comes with pad level, all that stuff. So when you get to the top of the break, it's about creating energy. You want to create energy with your cuts so you can accelerate and widen the distance with the DB, because this dude gets faster and faster every single year, okay? So that's the second thing that I want you guys to take home with your route running. You got to be explosive. You got to be sudden. You got to put yourself in that explosive position to where you could shoot out and widen the gap with the DB. Let's watch it full speed again one more time. So exploding upfield, drops those hips violently, make sure we're running out of the break to widen the distance with the DB. All right, so now the next thing I want to talk to you about are press releases. So these tie into route running. It's all tied together. Everything builds, right? From the release to the break at the top to the catch. It's all tied together. A route is a very detailed thing, right? So now, when we're coming off the line here, what I want to talk to you about is how you want to sell with your upper half and how your feet need to be sudden. I think those are the two biggest things that a lot of people don't focus on. They get so, caught up in, oh, well, I got to do this release, and then I can do this release, and then I got to do this and that. And it's like, just stick to something that works, right? Because you see guys all the time, they come up there, you could tell they have no plan. You could tell that they have no idea what they're doing. They're just ad-libbing out there, and they don't have a set plan. A guy like Davante Adams, everything he does looks similar, right? Because it's planned, it's strategic. He knows that it's going to work, and he knows if he makes it all look the same, it will work. So that's what I want to focus on with him right now. So let's watch this thing full speed, then we'll talk about it. So he comes out here and gives that 1-2, little hesitation hop, gives that little shake at the top, and you see how much separation. This is huge on the goal line. That is just an ocean of separation when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and when you're on the goal line like that, because we're looking for a yard even of separation from a quarterback perspective and from a coach's perspective. We're not looking for a lot off the goal line. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about why this works. So when he comes off here and he gives this little hesitation hop, he's gathering info, right? So it's real important that you gather info on that DB. A lot of times it's about being patient and then exploding. Patient, then sudden. A lot of people like to use that terminology, right? And if that helps you guys, that helps you guys. So you see, I want you to see how quick he is with that left foot. You see how quick he shoots that in the ground and how quick he cuts off of that right leg and how his upper half is working. He shakes his upper half because you know where's the DB going to be watching? Hips. And he could, and again, it's about moving your whole upper half without moving your feet, because a lot of people will move their upper half, right? A lot of people do what Adams does right here with his upper half, but they'll open up that toe and have that toe pointing towards the sideline. That opens up your hips and you don't have any explosion back over the middle. You don't have any drive off of that cut. You want to make sure you keep your toe forward or just slightly open so you have that weight on the inside part of your foot so you could push and you could actually accelerate off of this thing, okay? So that's the key. You want to be sudden with your feet and stay in that explosive position so you could actually drive out, but you sell with your upper half to move this DB off that platform. So again, we hesitate, give that 1-2, be quick with my upper half, drive off of this leg and push so I could get him off that platform. I swat his hands by and I go. So your feet have to be sudden. They got to stay explosive with your toes forward, and your upper half is what has to move. Let's watch this thing again, full speed one more time. That's how you could get separation off the line. This is a perfect example of how Davante Adams gets a ton of separation on every single route that he does. Overall, great route runner, okay? All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. Again, just to recap, right? We want to make sure that we're able to restack. Restacking is what gets you the most separation, right? Number 2, having that explosive break point at the top that's sudden, that's explosive. That's going to create that energy for you to accelerate out. You guys got to remember the 3 phases of every single route. Those 3 phases is what will get you open, right? And then number 3, you want to make sure that off the line, we stay in an explosive position with your feet. You make sure that your toes stay forward so you can push off that inside arch. Your feet are sudden and your upper half works, okay? So I hope that makes makes sense to you guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave those in the comments below. And again, if you guys want to get better hands, don't have a quarterback to throw to you, check out our 30-day catching program. That link is in the description. Very first link in the description. I think that will help you guys a lot. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time.